The dead web. Can Congress block Obama from surrendering the internet to communist control? Folks, I am Link Austin. I'm sitting in for Gary Franchi, who is spending some time with his wife and their new baby boy. This article comes to us from the Wall Street Journal, written by L. Gordon Krovitz. President Obama wants this to be the last month of an open, uncensored internet, guaranteed by the U.S. government, he writes. His plan to end American stewardship would hand new power to authoritarian governments offended by the internet as we know it. The good news is it appears that congressional leaders have agreed to rescue the internet in time to prevent the September 30th expiration of U.S. oversight. Senator Ted Cruz, trying to redeem himself, thank you, who has pushed hard against the plan since it was announced 2 years ago. No, in all seriousness, this is Cruz really ticked me off with the way that he behaved in the presidential election, but I'm glad to see that he is trying to redeem himself. He's actually been pushing really hard against this plan since it was announced 2 years ago. He told us last week that he is cautiously optimistic legislators will block it through a rider to the federal budget. The basic proposition, he says, of keeping the internet free has united Republicans across the spectrum and should also unite Democrats with Republicans. Top Senate and House Republicans have signaled they will ensure U.S. oversight continues to protect the Internet Corporation for Assigned Names and Numbers, or ICANN, and its stakeholders. Folks, we are seeing typical 1984 Ministry of Truth type arguments coming from the Department of Commerce, who is in charge of this contract that is expiring, and they are, it's actually a subset of the Department of Congress, NTIA, and they are arguing that, and again, this whole thing is run by Obama, just directing the Department of Commerce, who's directing NTIA, to let this contract expire, and to supposedly, they're telling people that this is going to promote a more free and open internet. What is wrong with the internet right now? If it's not broke, don't fix it. It doesn't need fixing, but it's not going to be fixed. That's the point that the writer here at the Wall Street Journal is making. This leads to a very bad place for the internet, and it will be nothing that resembles open when they're done with it. And they'll ease into it. It'll take time. But again, they're ceding over the final oversight of who assigns, basically controls the database that matches the names with the numbers. So the domain names that line up with IP addresses, that control, that final oversight, which again, the Commerce Department argues right now they don't really do anything, but they have the final say-so if there's a problem. And they do have the ability, because this nonprofit, ICANN, is in the United States and contracts a United States corporation to help manage this system called VeriSign. They do have the ability to shut down websites if they want to. The Department of Justice has that ability. We saw that a few years ago when you would go to a website and then the Department of Justice logo would just be there. Now, these were some sites where probably some bad things were going on. Maybe some of them there weren't. And so there were some arguments about freedom of the internet there. But the question I posed to people last week is, would you rather have the Department of Justice inside the United States have the final say-so of what stays on the internet? Or would you rather have that in the hands of a global community made up of stakeholders that include countries like China, that censors God knows how much of the internet, probably 90% of things that are in America you can't get to from China. I mean, everything is so locked down. It's what the state says. That's the only thing that goes. So there you have it, ladies and gentlemen. Thanks for joining us for this report. I am Link Austin. I'm sitting in for Gary Franchi, who is spending some time with his new baby boy and his wife at home. He'll be back shortly. If you haven't subscribed already to the Next News Network, we hope you'll do so today. Just hit that button right below the video. And remember to give the video a thumbs up, to comment, and to share the report with your friends, family, and social media networks. Thanks again for joining us. I am Link Austin for the Next News Network.
The Next News Network is sponsored in part by GetTheTea.com, a powerful detox tea to support your health.